So that was a bit of footage from a recent shoot in Liverpool, and you can see some more videos from that city exclusively with an E6 subscription. Now, I don't offer that subscription to just anyone, you know, so the fact I'm offering it to you now means you're one of the lucky few. Grab a year's subscription whilst you can at e6subscription.co.uk, and if you stay for a second year, you'll get the bonus pack for free. I know, how good am I to you? Well, you may remember I made a video recently explaining how I now use the 40 megapixels on my Fuji X-T5 for cropping in camera, and therefore I said with this in mind, what I really need is more megapixels, 80 megapixels maybe, or even 100, just so that in the future I might be able to have a fully in-camera crop workflow with, say, a single lens. But in fact, no. Of course I don't need that, do I? What I actually need is less megapixels. So a 12 megapixel camera, or maybe just a 6 megapixel one. So if a camera manufacturer released a brand new model featuring just a 12 megapixel sensor, would you buy it? Would you consider it? Why are there no 12 megapixel digital cameras? What? There is one. Oh yeah, the Sony a7S Mark III. That's only got 12 megapixels, hasn't it? But why is that the only one out there then? And I'm talking about new models only here, of course. We don't really need any more megapixels than that. I don't need any more. Most of you probably don't either. And in fact, there is another solution, a cheaper solution, if you do want more megapixels. So the reason I think I only need 12 megapixels maximum is because of what I do with my pictures these days. I don't submit my images to magazines or calendars these days. I don't send my images off to picture libraries anymore, like I used to. I, as I'm sure like most photographers, just post my results to Instagram, or you see them in these videos. Or if I do print them, it's in my e-guides, there as PDFs, which are created for my E6 subscription. For any of those formats, I don't need any more than 12 megapixels. Even if I crop my images, as I often do, to the square format or whatever, it's still enough. I don't really print out onto photo paper much, and if I do, it's only using the Michael Kenner theory of printing. 8 by 8 inches max. That's how big he prints his, and so do I. I find that size perfect actually. 12 megapixels is perfect for that too. But even if I did want to print a large print, say A3 or A2, again 12 megapixels would probably be plenty really. We've seen that proved time and time again in many a clickbait YouTube video on this topic. But if I do take a shot at just 12 megapixels, if I do crop to a square, if I crop in camera using the built-in teleconverter to simulate a 50mm lens field of view from my 35mm lens, even if I do both of these at the same time, then there's still enough to print big in reality. I don't need 40 megapixels or even 24 megapixels for this, as there is, as I say, another solution to increase the megapixel count, and that's Adobe's super resolution feature. If you've not used this feature in Photoshop, then you should. I've tried it once and it's amazing, and that's just the point really. I've tried it and I found it's a great solution. But as I say, I've only tried it once and I've not really had a reason to use it since, for all the reasons mentioned above. It's there if I need it, but on a day-to-day basis, I just don't. So the only reason I guess a sensor benefits from having more megapixels is for video purposes. Sensors are getting 40 megapixels and above simply produce larger video resolutions, 4K, 6K, 8K even. But then the 12 megapixel Sony a7S, that records in 4K. So maybe we don't need any more for that reason either. But even 4K is beyond me in many ways. I post most of my videos in 1080p. This one is, as I prefer that, and I don't think you're bothered by that. There's a few other YouTube channels that do the same. My TV at home is just 1080p HD. Even my main computer monitor is only 2K. And to confirm my theory, a 4K resolution screen only requires an 8 megapixel image file to display that full screen. So why aren't there more 12 megapixel cameras being released new? The Sony a7S Mark III is marketed for its better low light performance. That all makes sense. That's probably more useful to most photographers than a ton of megapixels. There's a point where we buy what we think we need that often overshadows what we actually need. We pay for fast, expensive prime lenses and zooms when we can all probably just easily use a kit lens. No one except us ever sees the quality difference. No one except us sees our image results zoomed to 100% magnification on screen. So who are we investing all this money on the best kit for? So I have the 23mm f1.4 lens for the Fuji, but it's much bigger and heavier than the f2 equivalent lens. So I've gone back to shooting with the f2 versions now. You'll never know which I use to shoot my pictures with, and you probably don't care either. If I had a 12 megapixel camera with better low light performance, I could even use these f2 lenses at higher ISOs for low light shooting. That's what I've got the f1.4 lens for, but I feel I'm being forced into using a bigger lens in a way. Apart from Sony then, the only other brand staying with 12 megapixels was Apple. But sadly, their latest offering, the iPhone 15, has too gone to 48 megapixels, at least for its main camera lens. I was disappointed to see this, as I respected them for sticking to the lower megapixel count when Samsung and everyone else was chasing megapixels. The thing is, if I do want 12 megapixels, if my logic is correct and I just start thinking sensibly, I can't get one. I would have to buy an older camera to do this. That's not the way forward. And who wants to buy a full-frame Sony to get that? And that, of course, is where the other conspiracy is, isn't it? That we need full frame to shoot landscapes. You apparently need full frame now. When and where did that logic first appear? So I guess this is the manufacturer's dilemma. How do they sell a new camera without those higher megapixel numbers on the specs each time? They won't reduce resolution now, and there's nothing they can really do to better the image quality either. Digital files are as sharp and as detailed and as colourful as we currently need. We never say a digital file is poor, not from any new camera. Low light capabilities, which is where improvement can be made, will no doubt only come alongside those increased megapixels each time. But I don't see that happening in any great leap. Although Leica cameras again seem to be performing very well at high ISOs. Maybe we need someone new to come in to shake up the camera market completely. Now if Fuji could somehow make a new digital X-Pan style camera, or the TX1 as theirs was called, now that would be something exciting. A new digital one of those would be great, but I'd still only want it to be 12 megapixels of course. 12 megapixels is the future, you know. Mark my words. I'll see you next time.